treasures that lie there in that old curiosity shop.
I never slept a wink last night. All I could do was think last night. Just wondering why you told me goodbye. I never slept a wink last night. I couldn't even go to bed. Had silly notions in my head. 8 hours or more walking the floor. I never slept a wink last night. Baby, this is so new to me, baby. What did you do to me, baby? You made it blue for me, you know you did now, didn't you? Please make things like they were before, so I can get my sleep once more. We just can't break up, we've gotta make up. I never slept a wink last night.
Well, hi everyone, I'm Scott. Welcome back to the Old Curiosity Shop. It's time for another good old-fashioned kitchen counter thrift haul. And just look at all that stuff. But before we begin, today's cup of coffee is brought to you by...
A cup of coffee, a sandwich, and you. A cozy corner, a table for two.
That's right, here's your old friend Jane Ray. Made by the Anchor Hawking Corporation in the 1950s. They even sold this into the early 60s. Haven't had Jane Ray in a while, and I was in the mood for black coffee, so there you have it. Matching cup and saucer. Alright, standing back up and moving back, let's get the hot coffee out of the way and begin to tell you what's here on the kitchen counter. Yes, a couple of these things I said I wouldn't sell, they have returned. And they are for sale. Now, I'll tell you this. Every single thing that you see on this kitchen counter, except one, is currently for sale, or are currently for sale. All of the things you see, except one, are currently for sale. Get your subject-verb agreement correct. In the Old Curiosity Shop. Now, can you guess what is the one piece I'm keeping? You already know it's going to be green. Okay, and since I said I'm keeping one piece... it's probably not going to be the Candlesticks, which color-wise match the Swan candy dish. It's not going to be the basket. Yeah, I'm keeping the fan vase. It has a little damage. I'll tell you about that in a second. But let's talk about the glass you see. And I'm going to start off with these 4 dinner plates here. And when I do this, I happen to know that that's about a 10-inch span, and I have 4 plates in the ever-popular sandwich pattern. The sandwich pattern, very popular. Now, once you memorize the sandwich pattern, you're not going to forget it. It's pretty unique and easy to identify. But, of course, more than one company made this sandwich glass. I shouldn't say sandwich glass. There is a sandwich glass which gets its name from the small town on Cape Cod, Sandwich, which is just after you cross is it the Bourne Bridge? I forget. It's been a few years since I've been on Cape Cod. But Sandwich is a beautiful little town. There's a nice glass museum there, and there was a lot of early glass making in Sandwich, Massachusetts, Sandwich, Cape Cod, as most of you know. Anyway, that's not where this is made. So this is the Sandwich pattern, and you can find it by Anchor Hocking, and you can find it by Duncan Miller. Remember the egg plate that I had? We had a wonderful discussion a couple months ago about deviled eggs at Christmas time and Thanksgiving time. So the deviled egg platter that I had in Sandwich pattern was Duncan Miller. Much, much more elegant and better glass than what you see in front of me. So no, this is not Duncan Miller's Sandwich. And it's not Anchor Hocking's Sandwich either. Well, who made it? Well, it's the Indiana Glass Company, Tierra. Alright, you hear the smile in my voice? Okay, I'm not going to pick too hard on Indiana. They made some good stuff, and I have complimented Indiana before. But I also make fun of them from time to time, and I'm not the only one. But in this case, they're beautiful plates. The Tierra glass was made, 1970 to to the mid-90s. And home parties, that's how you would get them. Similar to the Tupperware home parties, there would be hostess parties, and that's where the Tierra glass would be bought and sold. And they mimicked a lot of early Depression glass. They copied a lot of the early Depression glass. It was popular to do that then. That's who made these. How do you know the difference? The outer rim is usually very similar on all the patterns, but if you look in the center, there are going to be differences, and all I can tell you is you just have to memorize them. So I have little tricks of memorizing the different patterns so that I know in advance. The rims also around the Indiana glass, these are rough. This wasn't polished. It's just pressed glass. Duncan Miller would have polished it, but these are very rough, and that's not from being stacked or chipping or damaged. That's the way it came out of the factory. It's rough, and you almost would feel like you cut yourself on it. But, okay, so there are no chips on them, and I'll sell them. I paid, I think, 50, 75 cents each, something like that. See if I can get $20 out of the 4 plates made by the Indiana Glass Company, marketed through the Tierra Home Party line in the 1970s and 80s. Okay, enough about the Tierra sandwich plates. We'll slide those out of the way, and I want you to take a look at this glass right here, because boy is it absolutely beautiful. Let's get them all lined up together so that you can see. Now, what's funny is I went to the store and I found the candy dish. We're going to call it a candy dish. I found that or bonbon dish. Excuse me. I found this first. Note the swans, swan heads, and the wings on either side. 2 heads are better than 1. And of course, there's uranium in it. We don't even need a black light. It's glowing on its own, right? Beautiful candy dish, and in a unique green color. Not all Depression green is the same, and of course from company to company, the green can change slightly. I'm really attracted to this color of green, and then I went back a couple of days later, and behold and lo and behold, are these 2 beautiful matching candlesticks. Now what I notice immediately is the green is the same shade. If we slide this guy in here, we see it's a subtle difference, but that is I don't know if you can see it, but I can see that that's a different color green, and even the fan base in the back is a slightly different color green. It may be that this just has more uranium in it. I think these are probably made by the same company, not necessarily, and I haven't even had a chance to do my research yet, so I know a lot of you enjoy doing research. Maybe some of you want to do it for me. Hey, that would be great. You're all consultants. We're all in this together. But I certainly will have the research done before I finish the description of this glass in the eBay store. But anyway, by the time this video is up and running, I'll have the description because it'll be listed. But look how pretty the candlesticks are. Okay. And I've not decided yet if I want to keep the candlesticks together with the dish, or I think what I'll do is break it up. I'll do the candlesticks in one auction if I don't chip them, and the candy dish in another, because somebody may just want the candlesticks and not the dish, but all three will be up for auction at around the same time. And then with Halloween, oh my gosh, I should just get back in the bed. Halloween isn't coming, Scott, it's Valentine's Day. And with it right around the corner, I probably said that because of the black glass. I think you might have seen this before. It's a beautiful black glass bud vase, probably made around 1930, and it is gilded and beautifully and heavily encrusted with gold decoration around its top. There are no chips on it, and we don't seem to want to focus here, but I'd like you to be able to see how pretty that is. Oops, that was my finger. And, okay, so you don't want to do it? Don't do it. Fine. You just have to use your imaginations. It's pretty. And I've decided I don't need it, so that's going to be sold. When I went to a second-hand store, I found these two matching candlesticks, which I bought, or candle holders, and I went back, 3 or 4 days later, and they had whipped out a third one, so I went ahead and bought the third one as well. Maybe you live in Downton Abbey and have a great big dining room table. Well, there's lots of room and possibilities with all three of these that match. It's cut to clear. You can see the flashed on. It's flashed on ruby, and then it is cut to clear. Flashed on ruby has been around for quite a while. Goes all the way back to the 1880s. We've seen it, and they're still making it today. So flashed on ruby isn't from a particular decade or era. It's been made for over 100 years, and you just have to kind of look at the style. Again, I haven't looked these up, but they look very 1930s to me. Early 40s. Probably the 30s. They just have that kind of a look. And I guess I'm not going to split these up. I will sell all three of them together. So, alright, we talked about all of this. You'll recognize the shape of the vase being Anchor Hawkings Ruby Red, made in the 40s and 50s. I usually see this vase with nothing on it. So it's not very often that I'm able to come across the spring scene of the birds in the dogwood tree, I guess. If it's not a dogwood, I'm sure that you'll tell me what it is, but it looks like a dogwood to me. And this is an applied decoration. And it's pretty. Be nice for spring. Valentine's Day. We'll do the opalescent in a minute. Let's do the pink you see here, which is a little bit different from this color, which is almost peachy. Let's put them in front of each other. You see the difference? Beautiful difference in color. Clearly pink, and much more of a peachy color over here. So they don't match, but here's another nice cream and sugar from the Depression era with cherries on it. Etched cherries. You see that? Can you see? Well, you can't see it. I know it's hard for you to see it, but there are cherries on it. Pretty. Haven't looked these up either, but they're one of the many Depression glass companies that we always talk about from the 1930s. In fact, this reminds me of, you know what this reminds me of? You remember Crystal Light peach iced tea mix when it was watered down and you didn't put enough of the mix in it? That was the color of it. I don't know where that came from, but a diseased mind, I guess. So I'm going to call these a peach-like color, and they have an etched leaf pattern on them. Depression era candlesticks. And almost certainly from the Fenton Company, a variety of opalescent hobnail in different colors. So, little fluted edged dish, a fan vase, and then another small vase, 2 different shades of blue. Very pretty. Going to be very nice for the springtime, don't you think? Speaking of spring, how about a lovely basket? In green? Could be L.E. Smith, could be a number of companies. Lots of folks made these baskets. And these are also from the Depression era. That's a nice pretty green one. So I like that a lot. And that's for sale. The green vase in the back, fan vase in the back. And again, as you can see, there's uranium in these. I don't even need a black light. You can see they're glowing right here. The black of the counter helps pick up that. I hope you can see it as much as I can, but no black light needed. We can see, it's glowing on its own. But anyway, the fan vase, I really like it. Really like it. Did I say I really like it? Now, it looks great. It's not chipped, but somebody dinged it, probably in a china closet or in a sink or something, and you can see right there now, there's not a chip. It's completely smooth, but that's a little, like when you get a chip in your windshield and it's sort of not really cracked, but so there's no roughness to it. And I don't like that it's there, but it is. Anyway, head on, you don't see it in either direction, so I'm just going to keep this with that little bit of damage because it's green and I like it. And then finally, the 2 Heisey candlesticks I promised you that would be for sale, they finally are, and let's get you to have a good look at those in the back. There they are. Well, bring them up, bring them up. Come up front, you guys. Come on up front. Don't be like me and all the other United Methodists who sit in the back. I can say that because I'm making fun of myself. I'm sure Methodists are not the only ones that sit in the back. Anyway, wow, you can get 6 candles going here. Very romantic. And this is Heisey glass. Beautiful, etched with roses here. You see on the foot of the candlesticks. Very elegant. High-priced glass. This stuff sold in the 1930s and 40s and 50s in good department stores. The John Wanamaker department store, Macy's, Marshall and Fields. I don't want to leave out all the different department stores around the different cities in our country, but good glass from department stores and good jewelry stores, whereas the Depression glasses, you guys know, could be given away and often found in 5 and dimes. So let's spread it. I got it all junked up here, but I'll back up and let you have a good look at everything again. There it is. It's pretty on the counter, isn't it? Now there are a couple of updates, and one from yesterday's video. You're going to have to hold on for a second because I left that milk glass buffalo thing, glass, with the M on the bottom of it. You remember that? I left that in another location. So as soon as I get my hands on that, I'll tell you what that is. I think that was in yesterday's video. And then also an update on the flower debate. I'm going to look up in my temporary storage cabinet. You see there's not a lot in here. But we can settle the debate on what kind of flower this is because Vivian found it in her Tiffin book, one of her books that contains many examples of Tiffin glass. that's who made it. It was made around 1930, and Tiffin referred to this as their double columbine pattern. So had a lot of folks writing in suggesting that it could be Lily of the Valley or Bleeding Heart or Snowdrops. And a couple of other suggestions were made, but it was manufactured by Tiffin and referred to as double Bleeding Heart. Oh, I'm sorry, double columbine. So I'm trying to get you to see it as well as I can see it. And so Vivian sent me a photograph of this from one of her glass books. So I appreciate that. Okay, I think I talked about everything. Backing up, let you see it all. Okay, folks, I'm Scott from the Old Curiosity Shop saying thanks for watching, and so long for now.